Come on in, come on in. Welcome to the first episode in this series, this weekly series that is going to be about generating leads on LinkedIn. Listen, we're live, right? So all manner of things could happen while we're live. I've been on live and the doorbell has rung. I've been on live and my internet has crashed. So, prepare yourself because you just don't know what's going to happen when you're live. I'm excited to be with you for the next 30 minutes. I'm going to be speaking, as I've said, about how you can use LinkedIn to generate leads. I'll be sharing with you one strategy. Let me say this, right? LinkedIn has what I call like a puzzle, right? So there are different elements, different sections of LinkedIn that do different things that garner different results for you. And you have to piece this puzzle all together in order to get that beautiful image that you want to enjoy. Hey, Asim, good to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on. So I'm going to be sharing one strategy that will help you to get leads on LinkedIn. But before I begin, drop in the chat. Let me know where you're listening from. If you have your lunch, right? Because this is a lunch and learn. I do not have my lunch because I figured it would be rude for me to be chewing while on live. Right, so I don't have my lunch, so feel free to enjoy yours. The replay will stay up, so you will be able to come back and watch while you don't have a sandwich in your hand. So let me just see. All right, hey Jackie, good to see you, sweetheart. Good to see you. Let me know where you're joining from and if you have your lunch. If you're just coming in, I'm speaking about lead generation on LinkedIn. I'm showing one strategy, one thing that you could do today in order to start having more conversations. And that's ultimately what lead generation to me is, right? It's you getting visible to the right people, right? So there's a level of relevancy that's required, getting visible to them and having a conversation, right, to qualify those individuals, to work out whether they are the right fit for what you do, to work out if they have the problem that you solve. I always say this, right? Just imagine, right, you go to the doctors and you have a rash and the doctor never asks you any questions. He just sees you kind of hobbling and he's like, right, get them straight into a cast, put them straight into a cast, right? They didn't discuss anything, they didn't ask anything, they just assumed and jumped straight to a solution. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be those individuals. We want to have conversations to qualify individuals. You just needed lotion, but you ended up in a cast. From a business owner's perspective, right? I don't want to waste a lot of time creating proposals, going back and forth with you and your team and doing all the things. And then, it turns out that there's something that was blindingly obvious, but because we didn't just have a basic conversation, we ended up down a path we didn't need to be down. So this lunch and learn is a chance for us to engage. I could have just recorded this, but I'm like, no, I want to have a conversation, right? I want to chat with you. I want to hear what your thoughts are. I want to hear what you're doing, what challenges are coming up for you, and share some solutions. Joshua, my bro, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for hopping in. All right, guys, let me begin. I don't have slides, as I've said. It's a conversation. I've got like 1 or 2 slides that I'll share with you. And then I want to go into LinkedIn. Hey, Yasmin, how are you? Lovely. Good to see you. All right, guys, I am right. So let me say this. I'm streaming on free platforms. So go to the platform that you're most comfortable, right? If that's LinkedIn, hang out with me on LinkedIn. If YouTube is your jam, search for my name, Shalina Peart. You'll find me over on YouTube. And then the final platform, I'm live, I believe, on Instagram. I'm going to turn my volume down and just check if that is the case. So go where you're comfortable. Hang out on the platform that works for you. All right, I don't see me live on IG, so maybe don't waste your time heading over there. All right, guys, so let me know when it comes to lead gen. Like, what are your thoughts around it? Do you have strategies in place? Are there things that you're doing to generate leads on LinkedIn? because I find a lot of entrepreneurs, they just assume that if they have a profile, then people are going to give them money. Right? They just assume that just by having your profile, having a nice banner, that's going to lead to conversions. No, I'm sorry to say that is not the case. I am live on IG. Thank you so much for checking, Yasmin. Much appreciated. Do you know what it is? So obviously I'm logged into my account, so it doesn't show that I'm live randomly. But thank you so much for clarifying. Charlene, how are you? I'm loving that you guys are all coming in. Good to see you. Juliet, how are you, my love? Good to see you. Guys, let me know, right? This is a conversation. I want to teach and I want to give you some value, but as I said, I don't want to put you in a cast if all you need is lotion, right? So tell me, where are you when it comes to lead gen on LinkedIn? Are you intentional? Do you have a strategy? How is it working for you? Are you like inundated with leads that convert into clients, or are you on the struggle bus? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know what you do as well. I would love to hear what you do. And I've got all the screens going, phones, iPads, laptops, right? So we're not going to be on for long. This, I think, the information I'm going to be sharing is going to be particularly of interest to you if you are a service-based business owner. So maybe you're a coach or a consultant, you're an expert in something, right? So you sell your knowledge. If, however, you are a product-based business owner, stick around. I'm not going to tell you to leave. However, I think product-based business owners work better on LinkedIn when they lean into their expertise. So if your product is selling like beauty products, lip balms or whatever, maybe you are an expert in formulations, you're an expert in biology and the body and what we need to apply topically. I don't know, right? But LinkedIn generally, people do better when they lean into their knowledge, their expertise, right? So getting into the content. When most people think about LinkedIn, they're thinking that they need to post more. They need to become viral. They need to send more DMs. But actually, the results come from, I would say, being clear. So having clarity around your messaging, around who you're for and who you're not for. It comes from being consistent. And consistent doesn't mean having to be on every day, 10 times a day. It comes from you, whether you post once a week, 3 times a week, consistently doing that and sticking to that. That's really important because it builds trust. And as much as people will say LinkedIn is a social platform, it's also a conversion platform. It's a platform that converts people, and conversions happen when there is trust. So by you showing up consistently, what you're doing is you are removing anxiety, lowering risk, assuring individuals that you are the person, right? You say you can solve the problem, but are you going to show up, right? Can you consistently deliver value? And then I would say probably the last and like most important thing is having a system and a strategy. A lot of people are just groping in the dark when it comes to not just LinkedIn, right? It could be any platform. They're often just figuring it out, going by the seat of their pants and hoping that it leads to clients and customers. And yeah, the grace of God can make that happen. Absolutely. Right. But we have to play our part as well. You have to do the work. So let's see what you guys are saying. So Juliet, let me pull up your comment. So you said gaining visibility, no lead gen yet. Right. So with that, visibility is like everything starts from visibility. If you're not visible, then I can't buy from you. I can't join your email list. I can't attend your webinar if I don't know that you have those things available. So visibility is, to me, the foundation of where it all begins. So like tick, yes, you're getting visible, which is awesome. No lead gen yet. Are you doing intentional things to generate leads, to generate those conversations? Because if you are just getting visible, that's the first step. The second step has to be intentional strategy and tactics. And by tactics, these are just the daily things that you do. The strategy is the overarching broad thing, right? This is what we're trying to achieve, and the tactics are the day-to-day things. Juliet, you were on the 12-week year prep challenge that we did, and do you remember we were speaking about the lead and lag indicators, right? So the lag indicators are the things that they're the big things, the result that you want at the end. The lead indicators are the things that you do day to day, right? So we need to be doing the activities in order to get the results. So let me know, are you doing any activities for lead gen? And guys, if you're just coming in, I'm talking about generating leads on LinkedIn. I'm going to show you one strategy that you could be implementing. Charlene says, I'm just listening in as I'm just starting planning my workshops. Amazing. So gaining some insight today. Thanks, Charlene. Makes sense what you're saying. Wonderful. Let us know in the chat what your workshops will be about, because guys, listen, if you've given up your lunch break to come hang out with me and all these other people have done the same, potentially these are your people, right? Whether they need what you have to sell or they can be amplifiers and share what you're doing, right? These are the people that you probably want to connect with. You want to let them know what you're up to. So drop in the chat, let us know what your workshop's about. And guys, likewise, let us know what it is that you do. Networking is one of the strategies on LinkedIn, right? So overarching, profile optimization, network building, engagement, content creation, and did I say lead gen? Lead gen, and then analytics. Overarching, those are the things that you need to have strategies for. Now, they can be in varying levels of detail, right? Depending on what you're doing and depending on LinkedIn may be your only platform that you're marketing on. So if that's the case, you need to do a bit more. However, if you're just using LinkedIn to have somewhere to point people to, when you go networking, you've got somewhere to show someone who you are and what you do, then, you know, you probably don't need to be as strategic. But where was I going? Right. So those are the things in terms of the strategies, and I call them like the strategy buckets. As I said, do as much or as little as you want the results. Like brushing your teeth, only brush the ones that you want to keep. If you've heard me say that before, forgive me. Right. So what else do we have? I'm loving the conversation, because as I said, I could have just recorded this and posted this, but I really do want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you have to say. So Asim has said, I would love a pivot strategy, moving from one career to coaching, how to transition trust from a lifelong career to something new. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, that absolutely does. I think one of the stumbling blocks for people who are in transition is that they think they're starting from ground zero. They're like, oh, you know, we need to forget all of the 20, 30 years of delivering, of getting results, of being, you know, successful, and start from zero. Not the case. What you need to do is build from there. So what you did previously is where you start from. It's where you start from in terms of even lead gen, right? I've spoken about I did a live about, like, you want to block your old boss. Like, don't do that, because the people from your background, your previous career, could potentially be clients, could potentially know your clients, could potentially connect you with people that you don't have access to. I'm trying to remember the term. Weak ties and strong ties, that was the term. There's like a sociological concept theory around the people who, for example, you went to university with. 20 years later, chances are they are in careers, they're in spaces, they're in roles that could open a door for you. We start something new and we're like, oh, we don't want anyone to know what we're doing. What you need to do is have conversations with those people and let them know what it is that you're doing, right? So with that, they could then connect you. They could then sign you. They could then, my first client came from somebody that I knew personally, and I reached out and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do you know anybody? So that pivot looks like not starting from ground zero. It looks like obviously starting to change your messaging, what you speak about, who you speak to, but also maybe in the DMs having those conversations, right? So your front facing messaging is targeted to the people that you are wanting to coach, but in the DMs on WhatsApp, you're having those conversations as well to seed sow with people that are warm. We think, oh, let's go out to strangers. Let's go and sell our services to people who don't know us, don't trust us. Let's speak to the people that we know. And with LinkedIn, when somebody engages with your content, when they repost, when they comment, that gets shown to their network. So that person may not be the person, but they may know the person. If you've heard me say, every dud knows a stud. So yeah, that is what I would say in regard to that. Charlene said, being consistent is where I'm struggling. Need discipline. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. So the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, which you can probably see the logo there, is my community on School. It's a platform called School. And on that platform, in that community, one of the things that I started last week was to help people with exactly that, with consistency, with having a plan. Because often, as they say, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail, right? So on a Monday at 7 p.m., we have a planning session, right? Where you come on and we plan what your week on LinkedIn is going to look like. So you are not just randomly showing up on here, wasting time away from your family, away from delivery, away from sleep, whatever it is, right? So more on that later. But yeah, in that community, that's exactly what we are prioritizing, being consistent and having a plan. And there's different tiers in the strategy lab. The tier that focuses on helping you to be consistent is free. It's the free 99, right? So I can't do more to help you in that regard. I'm going to put up the QR code, right, for you to scan if you have another device. If you don't have another device, then just drop the word lab in the chat and I can send you the link afterwards, right? But that will take you straight to the join in page. Come into the lab 7 p.m. on a Monday, right? This is where we are intentional. If LinkedIn is a priority for you, and it may or may not be, but that is where you can get into the lab. All right, guys, let me rattle through these. Yvette, joining from Croydon. Whoop, whoop. Hey, Croydon, you are just around the corner from me. Just listening in, need to use LinkedIn more. You are very welcome. You're very welcome. Everyone says that. I need to use LinkedIn more. Let me put it back to you, Yvette, and to anyone else who is saying this. What is the stumbling block? What's the barrier, the hurdle that you're having to climb in regards? Because everyone says, I need to do more. LinkedIn is where my people are. Like, I need to be there. But then there's something, and I'd really love to understand what that is. I would love to understand what that is. Juliet says, nope, I need help. And you know what? Again, inside the strategy lab, not at the planning tier, we don't get into building out strategies, but at the mid tier, that is where strategy comes into play. But you have access, Juliet, in the build room. So like there's content there for LinkedIn. So look into that. You're doing a 100-day LinkedIn challenge. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, Juliet, not just like pointing you out. I took a pause from LinkedIn because I've been unwell, point one, but point two, it felt like the gym in January, if I can be honest. It was so busy. There was so much happening because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to be part of a challenge and I'm going to be posting every day. So there was just a lot of noise and a lot of, just a lot happening. So I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to wait until this. And in this AI, as they say, AI age, there was a lot of just kind of AI generated content. So it did feel very noisy. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it felt like the gym in January because there was a lot happening. There was a lot happening. All right, guys, I'm going to get to the strategy. I promise. But I do want to, as I said, I wanted to have a chat with you guys. I could have easily just recorded this, but I wouldn't be able to answer your questions. I wouldn't be able to engage with you had I have done that. So Charlene says, my workshop will align with my YouTube channel, The Anderson Show. Amazing. My channel is to help women that have gone through trauma, to interview women that want to share their testimony, to help and empower other listeners. My workshops are to work with women who have been through DV or help navigating life after trauma. Amazing. What I would say to you, Charlene, consider a lot of people are scared to go live, right? And to me, live streams set you apart from others who are doing similar things to you. So if your interviewees were happy to go live with you, going live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, wherever, I think could be really powerful. It allows people to watch in real time. Often with like expert-led businesses, you're able to show what you know because it's not edited. You're not pausing, chopping. I mean, I'm stumbling, I'm fluffing over my words, and that's real life, right? If we were having a conversation, I would be doing that. So consider going live. I think that would be beneficial for you. All right, guys, so you can see in the chat what others are doing. Which is great, which is fantastic. But I want to get onto the strategy and help you guys today to utilize what I share in order to help you to generate leads. So how many of you, let me know in the chat, how many of you are utilizing the featured content section on LinkedIn? Have you turned it on? Have you curated the information that is in there? Because if you do not, what happens is LinkedIn chooses what is shown there, right? So they decide, oh, we'll just grab a random thing and put that on your profile. And the problem with that is your LinkedIn profile, to me, and I would encourage you to view it like this, is like a landing page. It's like a website that somebody has visited, checked out, landed on. So, what you need to do as the business owner, the owner of the asset, which is your LinkedIn profile, is to curate the information that is distributed there. What you want to do is to be able to get into the hands of potential clients more information about you, about your service. You want to remove friction. And friction comes about when you make people jump through too many hoops, right? So you want to remove friction. You want to make it easy for them to contact you, easy for them to hop onto a call with you, right? This is what we want to be able to do. So let me know in the comments, are you utilizing the featured section on LinkedIn? Because the reason why I encourage us all to prioritize that, as I've said, you can curate the narrative, the story, the information that you get into the hands of your ideal clients. With your featured content section, and I'll open up LinkedIn in a bit and show you what that allows you to do is to, sorry, that was my timer That was my timer for something else. All right, let's stop it because otherwise it's going to keep going off. Right. I started about 5 minutes late. So I've got 5 more minutes with you guys and then I'm going to give you back your time. So forgive me for starting late. The tech was doing the most. Right. So let me show you your featured content section and I'll speak to it while I'm showing you that. But before I do that, what I do want to show you inside of the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, we operate on a really simple 4-step pathway. What we're talking about today is the first step. So it's all about the profile. Optimizing, setting up your profile in such a way that allows somebody to know who you are, what you do, who you help, and the results you get in under 5 seconds, right? If I have to dig, if I have to decode, if I have to phone a friend, then you've lost me, right? So we start with profile, we move on to content. The next step is pipeline, so generating lead gen pipeline, and then client management or client acquisition rather, right? So what we're talking about is setting up it's a little bit of profile and its pipeline, but ultimately we need to set it up on your profile. So let me open LinkedIn and then I want to show you what I'm talking about. And what I will say while I'm setting it up, if you haven't turned that particular section on, you won't see it. So it's something that you need to turn on. Right? So let's share my screen. All right, guys, you should be able to see my screen, right? So this section here, featured, think of it if you're active on Instagram or if you're active on TikTok. I'm thinking of the other platforms and if they have it. I know definitely TikTok does, Instagram does. Think of like your pinned posts. So the things that you want to draw attention to. So when somebody lands on your LinkedIn profile, what are you saying? First of all, first and foremost, all right? What is the information that you are giving to that new set of eyeballs that have landed on your profile? A lot of people, as I've said, have overlooked this, or they allow maybe is a little bit strong. They just let LinkedIn decide what's pinned there, but we are curating, we're creating that landing page type vibe. So whatever you have in your banner, so that bit at the top of your profile, what you have in your headline, what you have in your about section, and then what you have in your featured content should all be singing from the same hymn sheet. They should all almost stack on themselves to build up credibility, trust, clarity, to help somebody to really feel and know that they're in the right place. So think of your featured content as almost like your bookshelf that is for conversions. So at this point, you may decide, okay, so what I'll say to you, on a desktop, we see 3 tiles before we can click. There's like a little arrow to move along, to scroll along and see more. But what we want to do is optimize for the first 3 on a desktop. So what have you put there? I spoke about removing friction. So maybe you have a link that directly drives somebody to your Calendly, to your calendar booking. So somebody who has read your profile, read your about, maybe has been consuming your content and is now ready to take the next step, can straight away book time, get time in your diary. Maybe you have a lead magnet that you want to deliver. Having that here allows somebody to access it easily, right? At, I don't know, 1 a.m. while they're scrolling on LinkedIn, right? I get that. I see people signing up for my community or purchasing. What I have here is a link to my school community, so the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, and then I have a paid product This is the LinkedIn profile optimization course, right? That somebody could just go on and buy. Depending on where you are in your business, how much trust you've built up, your kind of level of confidence, maybe you just at this point want to give a freebie to build brand awareness, to build trust, right? Think of it as a funnel. We want to offer something that is at the top of the funnel, right? So it is about awareness. So maybe you have here, maybe you've got a case study that shows the results that you've got for a client. Maybe you have here, as I've said, a lead magnet, a call booking link. On a mobile, you only see the first one. So really prioritize. I wonder, actually, I'm moving my mouse around and I don't even know if you guys can see the cursor as I move it around. But the first one on a mobile is what you see. So that's the most important one. On a desktop, it's the first three. What this is, as I've said, it's an opportunity to attract leads, to get them off the platform. We love LinkedIn, but we want to get people off as quickly as possible, right? Did you guys hear that? What you want to do is own your data. That's part of the process of lead generation. If you just have somebody who's engaging with your content, you can't be like, oh yeah, I've got a lead. You don't have their details. You have no way to contact them. If LinkedIn shuts your profile down, how do you continue that conversation, right? So if somebody makes a purchase, I have their email address. If somebody joins my community, I have the details to continue the conversation. With social platforms, you're at the mercy of the algorithm. You are at the mercy of all of the noise on the platform, right? Whereas if you utilize this particular section on LinkedIn, it allows you to get value into somebody's hands first and foremost. We don't want to put out rubbish, right? We're putting value into somebody's hands, but we're also getting them into our ecosystem, right? And then we can nurture them along that buyer's journey so that they become a paid client. So I hope I haven't lost you. I hope I'm making sense. Please do drop in the chat if anything is coming up and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. As I've said, if you haven't turned it on, you need to open up that particular section. It's called featured. I think it is featured content. It just featured here, but I think it is featured content. So that's a strategy, an easy strategy that you could be leveraging. And as I said, I picked this up and I didn't even drink it. A lot of people are not utilizing that. And what I would say to you is, the profile belongs to you. It's yours. So update those featured content pieces as often as you need to, right? If you had come to my profile a few months back, there would have been different content pieces there, right? So as you're launching something, if you've got an event that's coming up, change what is there according to what you're marketing, according to what you want eyes on, right? So I hope I'm making sense. All right, so I can see in the chat, Charlene says, thanks, Charlene. I never thought of doing a live. Interesting. Thank you again. Absolutely. I love going live. I really do. I know it can be scary, but I just think to myself, I have conversations with people all the time. I'm just talking. I am just talking. And I think, we have to be okay with things may go wrong. You may fluff your words. Like, that happens in real life. So, like, get over it. Right. I love the sound of what you do. Hop into the strategy lab if LinkedIn is a priority. But guys, let me know any questions, any thoughts that come up for you. I would love to hear what they are. We have our second planning session in the lab, right? So scan the QR code, or if you're not able to, just drop the word lab in the chat and I will send you. Actually, it's in the, am I still sharing? I don't think so. It's in the description of this particular event. The link is there, but again, easily just drop me the word lab and I'll send it directly to you. But as I wrap up, forgive me, I went over time. Must do better next week. Come back next week, 12 p.m. I'm going to be here delivering another strategy. We will move on from profile. We're going to be talking about content, right? So come hang out with me next week, Monday, 12 p.m. I'll be streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and IG. So wrapping up, final call. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to share them. And yeah, guys, I hope that this was valuable. Hop into the lab because I'm helping men and women. So generally, my target is females over the age of 40. In the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, it's open to men and women, right? So hop in, right? If you just need help with consistency, with planning, stay on the free tier, right? That's fine. Hang out there, right? If you need help with feedback, with reviews, with strategy, you need help with accountability, the mid-tier is where you camp. And then if you need to go faster, you need quicker results, you need to work with me one-to-one, then the VIP tier is where I would point you to, right? But all the details you'll get from scanning the QR code. But I'm gonna give you back the rest of your day and I am gonna go and grab some lunch because I can feel my stomach grumbling and doing what hungry stomachs do. You're welcome, Asim. I'm excited to see you in the lab as well. We need more guys. We need more gents. I think we have about 4 maybe. There's like 114 people and I think there's 4 guys. So tell your male friends who are building businesses. And really as well, it's also open to intrapreneurs. So individuals who are in organizations and they want to leverage LinkedIn to get more opportunities, to get more buy-in to projects, right? They can benefit from the information and the strategies in the LinkedIn Strategy Lab as well. You're very welcome, Jackie. Good to see you. Juliet, thank you so much for jumping on. Oh, you guys are kind. Thank you. I will look into everything you said. Amazing. I'm glad that you hopped on. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Let me know how you get on, right? Come back to me. Let me know by setting up your featured content. Has this driven more conversations? Are you getting more DMs, right? I'm all for people engaging, but I really need for you to monetize and to start to see revenue and your bank account knowing that you did the work. All right, take care, guys. I will see you